Hi guys, today I'm going to be talking to Sultan Maruf. He's a candidate for the 26th Council District that covers Sunnyside, Woodside, Long Island City and parts of Astoria. Hi Sultan, thank you very much for joining me today.
Thank you so much for allowing me to join the meeting and allowing me to say a few things about myself.
All right, wonderful. Well, Sultan, for those people who don't know you, could you sort of tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're running to be the next council member of the 26th District?
Yeah, hi. My name is Sultan Maruf. I'm running for District 26 to make a better place for our community. I've been living here almost 2 decades in this apartment. And during that time, I witnessed so much corruption in the city and state level that I want to make a difference so that others will have a better future. For example, rising rents, judicial misconduct, MTA fare hike, rising homelessness, 20,000 people plus eviction each year, slumlord, deplorable condition in the NYCHA, overdevelopment, displacement of our community, barely any ADA compliance transportation system, racism, greedy, sellout politician, hunger, poverty, outsider taking our job, students, hunger and homelessness, legal help, and crumbling hospital. I'm an immigrant from Bangladesh, and from 2003 to 2013, mostly I advocated for national and global issue. For example, ending poverty, hunger, human rights issue, gun control, anti-war agenda. But starting 2008 or 9, I endorsed some of the issue with the landlord. It's been going on for forever, but later on, when I tried to get a justice, I wasn't getting any.
Okay.
So that's how I become advocate for a local issue. People need uh, right away. If I don't look after my neighbor and other people, then there's nothing I can achieve. If I cannot show a global citizen that I achieved success in my local area, then it's not enough.
Okay.
So I
So,
want to
Sultan,
make a better place for our community.
Sultan, what part of the district do you live in, and sort of what are you doing on a local level, like in terms of with organizations or just sort of on your own accord?
I live in Astoria and Long Island City border, 36th Avenue and
Yep.
29th Street corner.
Okay.
So I was advocating for rent, mainly rent, anti-Amazon, and fighting against landlord. For example, I get the eviction order right now because I was fighting. I took landlord like 7 times in court. Finally, corrupt judge uh, issued an eviction order. So I'm fighting for that. And by winning if I win, then I can show other people that I am an example of success. And I didn't sell out my fight with money. They offered me a couple of money, couple of $1,000 money, but I did not take it. I'm fighting for it.
Okay. All right. Well, you've mentioned about property and rent, etc. I'm just looking at the Amazon deal from 2 years ago. Obviously it's a while ago now, but it sort of gives us an indication as to sort of what your thoughts are on rezonings, big developments and corporations. What were your thoughts on it at the time, and how do you look at it, looking back today?
And Amazon, I think it was a bad deal. know, okay, they are coming here, you should welcome them. But why giving them the $3 billion? And those area that they are getting it, they should be paying us. They are the number one corporation in the world, I think, or maybe top 5 of them.
Mm.
And thing is, like, It is absurd. Like, what about local people? Are they going to hire local people? You know, that's what I mentioned in the when I went to community board and two community board, community board 1 and community board 2, and I went to door in Naicha and other places, saying, raising my voice, ask question, get the fact before you allow them to come here. If they accept like a 95 to 100% people, if they hire 95% or more people, local resident who've been living here for 5 years, then we should say, hey, come, we will welcome 25,000 jobs. But what if outsider come to here, and what would be our voter voice then? The demography will be shift toward the rich people, and it's going to continue. I understand, like, some people lost property value, but in the same time, you have to look after, needy people and local store, local business. They are suffering. Over gentrification sometimes create a havoc. So before jumping to conclusion, it has to be clear. And that's what I did. I think like it was a bad deal. With $3 billion, I could get 15,000 unit apartment if I count 100,000 each unit.
I mean,
there are so many issues that we could handle.
I mean, the $3 billion was, contingent upon them bringing jobs over the years. Like, it wasn't a sort of a check handed to Amazon, but but I guess you probably would still have the same viewpoint anyway.
I got it. $3 billion is like a little bit over the time. Yeah. But what about the job? If the job is, they have to say contractual agreement that the local resident will be hired. Then I will welcome them. Okay, usually like I used to be a businessman too. Like in order to attract people, they give out certain grant and incentive. I got it, but that's like richest person and richest corporation in the world, and they don't need $3 billion.
Okay, all right. What would you like to see where that property is today, where Amazon was likely to go? What would you like to see there now? It's currently underutilized property that the private owners want to develop, and there's also that public parcel as well.
It should be allocated to affordable housing unit, but it all depends on the local people. Local resident will determine what should be done or what should not be done. What are our what do we need in this area? Based on like a local people opinion survey and 51% or more vote, local people, not the board member, they say board members should not determine what should be done in our community. It should be based on our local people. And local people determine what should be done and what should not be done. And I personally, as I mentioned before, affordable housing, because we are facing like a enormous housing crisis. Almost 80,000 people are homeless, and we need to take care of them. And it's every year on the city council website, if you go there, 20,000 people are getting evicted. And it's not like they are not bad people. They are like majority of them good people, but they are victim of the system. And by providing affordable housing, we can able to create a sustainable environment for all of us, needy people like me.
Now, Sultan, what are your views then on the FIPS affordable housing development in Sunnyside? Obviously, they're looking for a rezoning there to build it a bit larger, and I think to build around 200 units. Are you a supporter of that project?
I'm not supporter, or I'm not against it, or I'm as I mentioned a little bit before, what I mentioned right now, that it has to be based on local people opinion.
Mm.
Personally, I would love to see, affordable housing in it more. And also, like, a local resident doesn't have a park and recreation area. They have to, like, they are overcrowding that Gantry Plaza and Queensbridge Park. But
Mm.
over there is really less park and environment. And there are lots of other issues that, like, local people needed. So based on local people demand, that would be my voice. Whatever I think affordable housing, but like it has to be like a local people voice. That would be my voice. And what I would do is, like, get the opinion survey and get that
But based
to
on what you've
determine
heard,
my voice.
Sultan, based on what you've heard so far and what you've sort of, in terms of your own research, if you were asked today as a council member, yes or no, what would you say?
I would say affordable housing, and the rent demand should be lower. For example, if after getting evicted, I have to, show certain amount of income to be eligible for housing in my local area. But usually it's like 4 times that. Like, if I get a 2-bedroom apartment, $2,000, I have to make $80,000, which I do not make.
Mm.
So, the income level has to be lower, based
Yeah.
on that. And based on that, people, getting displaced from my local area
Hmm.
after 20 years is so sad. And I want to stay here. And if local people want to get rid of me because I'm poor, that is truly sad moment. And hopefully
So
they will
tell us a
consider a
little bit
little
more
bit
about,
of affordable housing.
Sultan, tell us a little bit more about your situation now then. You're facing eviction. What sort of led to that? And what are the sort of next steps, so to speak?
Regarding rent, my eviction, or
Yeah,
I
your
didn't
eviction.
hear.
You personally are undergoing
Uh,
eviction right now, correct?
yeah, I already got the court verdict, but the court judge say, look at this. A judge did not sign it.
So,
Then there is no signature. This is the paper they served me. I say, what's going on? And there is like so I recorded super asking money. Judge doesn't care. Then I complained about State Committee of Judicial Misconduct about one of the other judge, and judge wrote down in this court verdict saying that he complained about us. So
so,
this is the thing, like, it's a retaliation.
but
Next step would be,
what got to that point? Were you unable to pay your rent, and then the landlord sort of has been chasing you down, or you've been living in substandard conditions, and you said, "Well, listen, I'm not paying." What sort of led to where you're at today?
I'm living in inhuman condition. So there is ceiling collapse, water leak, the so many things that I recorded some of the video in
So you decided not
in
to
a
pay.
different website.
So you decided that you shouldn't have to pay your rent, and then your landlord went after you. Is that kind of what happened?
Yes, I did that. But
Hmm.
later on, I say, okay, I want justice. What is this? Like, you cannot, you are getting money from me and you are giving me this deplorable condition.
Hmm.
Same thing as like NYCHA. You
Hmm.
know, we are a taxpayer paying money to them, to the city, to take care of people, and like they are misusing it. And that's the thing.
So
And
Sultan.
I applied for NYCHA too,
Hmm.
like 6-7 years ago. I didn't get any unit or even an interview. So this is the thing, that we do not have enough housing for the needy people like me.
Sultan, how long have you been sort of doing battle with your landlord, so to speak? Then it's just been sort of a ongoing.
It's since 2014. I have like 7+ court cases with the landlord,
Wow.
and I will email you all this information. Hopefully, you'll get the better understanding what's going on.
Have you not paid your rent in 7 years? Is that kind of what's been going on? Or?
Yes, that was some of, at the beginning, I didn't know the procedure. I say, if on the guideline, it says stop paying rent when they don't repair stuff.
Mm.
So I stopped paying. They took me to the court, and first two cases I won.
Mm.
Then the third one, I told judges that, Judge, I was telling you this is collapsing. The ceiling is collapsing. While I was waiting for your verdict, it did collapse, but you didn't mention in your court verdict to repair that. So judge got a little bit angry, and it repeats every time. And I filed a complaint, and then I filed like three complaint. I filed complaint against 2 or 3 judges in the court, and also one of them in the State Committee of Judicial Conduct when judge concealed evidence. So this is the thing. Like if I cannot prevail with my 2-3 master degree, then how the poor people are going to prevail when when people are needy people, how they are going to prevail it?
Yeah. So you haven't paid your rent in 7 years, and your landlord hasn't fixed the place. Is that kind of what's going on?
No, that's not true. Whenever there is a judgment, I paid it off.
What's that?
I paid it off. Every time there is a judgment, I paid it off. Then, the same thing happened again. Then I stopped payment. Then they took me to the court, and then they repair it.
Yeah, and then you pay your back rent, etc., etc.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, I gotcha. All right. Well, I'm sorry you're having to go through, such an ordeal. Just moving on though. The police. What are your thoughts on cutting the budget of the NYPD? A lot of candidates in the 26th council race are advocating for that. What are your thoughts on that?
Honestly, I like. There was an article in New York Times about defunding the police, and I like that portion of it. I like defunding certain portion. I don't like all the part, and based on the budget, based on the and some of the portion should be allocated to human resource officer who do not carry weapons and other stuff. So I'm for defunding a little bit. I'm not for defunding whole lot more. It's all depend on analyzing the budget that that need. For example, 200 I think $219 million can be saved if we reduce the uniform officer by about 5%. I don't like that. We need police. But on the other hand, $96 million can be saved if we remove the officer from school, transit system, homeless, outreach, and mental, and put a human resource officer there who can better assist them. So there are it doesn't mean that that's a concrete. It's depend on the local people opinion, survey, and poll. Whatever they like, I have to be their voice.
Okay, all right. Now, I just want to talk to you about voting rights. Do you believe that, non-citizens, including undocumented people, should be allowed to vote in city elections?
Definitely. They are paying the taxes, and directly or indirectly. And when they buy a product, they're paying sales tax. So they have certain issue. Also, they are renting property, they are doing all the other stuff, and directly, indirectly, they are also doing job that high-paying people are not doing. So they have a right to say what should be done in the city level.
Okay. Now, going back to land use and rezoning, what do you think of the current rezoning process, the ULIP process? Do you think it needs to be changed, or you think it's working as it is?
Yeah, definitely it need to be changed. I think board member and borough president and I think mayors, they have certain power to impose them, like, and even those are the people they select board member. So it's like putting a puppet in the position to get things done in their way. So we need to change. We need to, I know local people need to elect a board member or any issue. It should be local people voting. How about like you're talking to me by video? On the video, tons of people, our local residents express approval and disapproval. That way it cannot be hacked or anything. So that's the best way to do it. I do not support board member to get elected by the borough president and other people. It should be done by a direct election.
Okay, as opposed to being selected. Okay, all right.
Yes.
All right. Just tell me a little bit about what your thoughts are on the transportation system in the 26th Council District, or Western Queens for that matter, because you're right on the border of the 22nd District as well. What do you think can be done to improve it?
Fortunately, bike lane improved a little bit. Thank you. Oh, and but unfortunately, like the fare hike is so much, and like I have some certain medical issues, so it is difficult for me to climb the stairs. There should be an ADA compliant elevator, all the subway. And the MTA should be free for the needy people up to like, immediately it should be free for the public assistant recipient. And like if we impose like 1.2% wealth tax or MTA tax, if you look at the business tax return, they do charge, I think, like MTA tax. But if we add like 1.2% MTA tax for local people, then if I'm making $60,000, my monthly payment would be $60, not like $127.
Okay.
And same way, when 300,000, if a person making $300,000, that person, monthly Metro card or Metro tax would be $300. So
Gotcha.
this way we can eliminate like up to $40,000-$50,000 earner. Fare hike, and it should be totally eliminated. Those swiping thing and everything.
Okay, so Tom, what is your occupation? I actually didn't ask.
Yes, I'm a home health aide. I take care of at-risk elder patient, and I have a little bit small multimedia business, but it's inactive. I also work other part-time job whenever I get them. And that's how I'm surviving. And it's difficult to fight against landlord while doing the job, so much.
No, absolutely.
I know also I've been advocating lots of non-profit organization. I was a Lions Club president. I was a UNA USA president, Queens chapter, and many things. So it's a long story.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned a few moments ago about protected bike lanes. You sounded as though you're very pleased with the increase in the infrastructure there. Could you sort of tell me your thoughts on what you'd like to see with the protected bike lane network?
Improving the bike lane would be priority because for me, it would be easier for me to go to Manhattan and other places with the bike lane. And the bike lane should be protected. We noticed that, like, certain time they endure accident. And as a biker, we have to be careful too, not to obey the traffic light and everything. But the bike lane, even though it's what do you call that cone thing, and
the plastic
should be permanent, stronger stuff. So car doesn't get into the bike lane and
Mm.
injured us or bikers.
Yeah. Okay. Now, Sultan, is there anything that I haven't raised that you'd like to bring up that you're sort of running on that matters a lot to you that people should know about?
Um, I'm people should select a victim. That way, you know, a victim will not victimize other local people.
Mm-hmm.
And by presenting myself, I'm creating a blueprint for the other poor people who can run and get elected. Hopefully, people will check my education, my background, my community activities, and try to know me. And that way, that I didn't cover tons of things,
Mm-hmm.
and mentally, I'm really. Not good position because of the eviction, not getting justice.
Mm.
And how can I be advocating for justice when I don't get it? So
Mm.
I hope people will pray for me so I can get a proper justice about corrupt judge, corrupt system, corrupt politician who are ruining us, ruining poor people. We cannot afford a high paying lawyer.
Mm.
So we have to stick together. I hope they will understand me and select a better qualified person.
Mm.
Last of all, I want to say, if I get elected, I'm going to donate 50% of my salary to the charity first 2 years,
Mm.
but it might increase. So none of the other candidate or other area, nobody is offering that. I hope
Mm.
people will realize that and consider me. And thank you so much for allowing me to speak.
Oh, terrific. Well, listen, thank you very much for joining me today.